You've heard us talk about hormone therapy by Happy Mammoth many times by now. It's a supplement that helps women maintain optimal hormone levels with over 50,000 glowing reviews from women all over the globe. 98% say that they would recommend it to friends and family. And that's why we're recommending it to you. Now we can take those hormone harmony results even further by pairing it with Happy Mammoth's probiotic collagen protein. It helps restore gut lining integrity, promoting overall hormone balance. It also helps relieve occasional bloating, reduce sugar cravings, and helps you feel satisfied longer. Because your gut directly affects your hormones, improving gut health can amplify your hormone harmony results so you feel like yourself again. Happy Mammoth is dedicated to making women's lives easier, and that means using only science-backed ingredients that have been proven to work for women. They make no compromise when it comes to quality, and it shows. Right now, you can try prebiotic collagen protein and hormone harmony risk-free and get 15% off your entire order with code MurderDiaries at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use code MurderDiaries for 15% off today.
If you care about the seafood you eat, you need to know where it comes from. Wild Alaskan Company delivers 100% wild-caught, frozen right off the boat, perfectly portioned fish straight to your door, so you always know exactly where it comes from. That means no antibiotics, GMOs, or additives. Just clean, real fish that support healthy oceans and responsible fishing communities. Get seafood you can trust. Go to wildalaskan.com/podwild for $35 off your first box of seafood today.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. This Monday night, witness the end of an era. John Cena takes center stage for his final appearance ever on Monday Night Raw. One last match, one unforgettable farewell. Come celebrate the legacy of a true WWE legend. Monday Night Raw, November 17th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time, only on Netflix. Be there for the moment everyone will be talking about.
Welcome back to the Murder Diaries. Don't forget, the Murder Diaries is going to have its own feed again soon. Come January, we are so excited to move Unscripted to its very own feed and have it become its very own podcast. Thank you to everyone who's been supporting. And with that, I'm Paige.
And I'm Natalie.
June 4th, 2019 was a beautiful sunny day in Northeast Ohio. Around 5 p.m., two longtime friends, Carnell Sledge and Kate Brown, arrived at the Rocky River Reservation in Fairview Park, Ohio, which is a 2,500-acre nature preserve. The meeting appears to have been spur of the moment. Carnell had plans for a family dinner at his grandmother's house that night, but after work, instead of driving towards his grandmother's house, he drove in the opposite direction towards the park to meet with Kate. As for Kate, she had been at the gym and left the gym to meet with him. After parking at the Rocky River Reservation, the two sat on a bench overlooking the western bank of the Rocky River to talk. Just a few minutes later, two kayakers passing through the area noticed a body near the park bench. As the couple walked closer, they discovered Carnell. He was on the ground and Kate's body was in the water. Kate had been fatally shot once in the back of the head and Carnell twice. Kate was just 33 years old and Carnell 40. This is their story.
Used to think it's in my head, but I'm walking with the dead.
Catherine Kate Colby Brown was born October 12, 1985, to parents Kim and Tom Brown in Olmsted Falls, Ohio. The middle of three daughters, she had an older sister named Lauren and a younger sister named Alex. Growing up, Kate shared friends and common interests, especially soccer, dance, and music, with her older sister, Lauren. Lauren said Kate was a traditional little sister, following me around, wanting to try on my clothes, all of those things that little sisters do. Her friends describe her as lighthearted, goofy, and carefree. Her younger sister, Alex, said, she was in a good mood by her level of goofiness. Kate graduated from Olmsted Falls High School in 2004. She attended Bowling Green University and later Cleveland State University. In her free time, she loved practicing yoga, exercising outside, listening to music, playing volleyball, and snuggling with her rescue cat named Kip. Kate's family said she was a compassionate and kind person who was loved and adored by everyone. With that, she was also a loving aunt, affectionately called Titi or Mr. Ray by her 4 nieces and nephews. She loved spending time with her family and had an infectious smile, a good heart, and a great sense of humor.
Kate was pursuing a career in marketing, and she had worked for a local jewelry company called QCG Goods in Brook Park for 7 years. QCG bought jewelry and sold it on eBay. She loved her job and thought of her boss and coworkers as family.
She wrote in her journal, "I love me now today for many reasons. I woke up healthy and sober, on time, ready before work. I know I'm on the right path." A week before her murder, Kate texted her older sister a picture of her in a cute black dress and heels. She captioned it, "Stella's got her groove back." Her obituary described her as a free spirit and true lover of life. She had an extraordinary ability to see the best in people. Kate was compassionate and loyal, and if you were a friend, you were a friend for life. Kate did struggle with depression and anxiety. For several years, she coped by abusing alcohol, but eventually she got sober in 2017. That's when she got on a health kick. Hence the caption, "Stella's got her groove back," and her journal entry of expressing that she knew she was on the right path now. She'd been through it, and now she was on the other side. She improved her diet. She started exercising at Rocky River Park, which was just a mile down the road from her apartment. Carnell Edward Sledge was born April 3rd, 1979, to his parents Cornelius and Darlene in Bedford, Ohio, but later moved to North Olmsted, Ohio. He had a younger brother named Terrence. Terrence called Carnell his role model and his, quote, strong-willed older brother. Carnell had an imposing build. He was 6'4", 220 pounds, but was described as a teddy bear and someone who was always kind and patient with others. Terrence eventually became taller than Carnell, if you can believe it, but he says, "Regardless of how big I got, I was always just his little brother." Not only was Carnell the oldest of he and his brother, he was also the oldest grandchild in his family. He was adored by his grandmother, Audrey. She said, "I loved him from the day I first saw him in his crib."
Audrey told Cleveland News 19 on the 3rd anniversary of his death, "It's the time that we spent together. We were very close. He liked to eat and I liked to cook, and whatever my baby wanted, I fixed it."
Carnell's friend, Jeff Schwartz, said Carnell was always smiling. He was magnetic in a perpetual happy mode. Carnell was the nucleus of our friends group. It's also well known that Carnell loved Cleveland sports. He was a diehard fan of the Guardians, Browns, and Cavaliers. Even from a young age, Carnell wanted to help people. His day job was as an audiovisual tech at Crescent Digital in Strongville, Ohio, but his real passion was helping and coaching children and teens with special needs. He volunteered as a transportation coordinator and youth consultant at Applewood Centers, which is a nonprofit organization that provides mental health care to disadvantaged children and adults in the community. From 2013 to 2018, he worked as a special education specialist and coach for children with disabilities at Westlake School District. His mom says the kids that worked with him over the years still talk about him. In 2017, Carnell started Carnell's Helping Hands, a foundation that helped transport children with disabilities to sporting events and other outings. He wanted to help them and their families through the difficult times. He had a big dream for his foundation. He had people backing it and hoped to get it classified as a nonprofit. When he was murdered, his coworkers wanted to continue his work and sold T-shirts with the foundation's logo on them to honor him.
On June 4th, 2019, a local woman, Caitlin, and her boyfriend, Tony Vaca, arrived at the Rocky River Reservation to launch their kayaks in the river. Now, the Rocky River Reservation is a 2,500-acre preserve. There are portions of its east and west branches crossing throughout 8 surrounding communities.
Caitlin immediately noticed Carnell laying down on the ground and asked Tony to check on him. She said, "He doesn't look okay." Tony recalls his knees were bent, he was facing the river, he had his eyes open, and a bullet wound in his head. Caitlin said it appeared to have just happened because, quote, "he still looked warm." Then they saw Kate laying face down on the riverbank. Caitlin recalled how shocking it was to see her body there. Tony became overwhelmed with fear and told Caitlin to go back to the car, in case whoever did this was still there. She had returned to the car and noticed a man sitting in his truck, and that seemed odd to her. Rightfully so, she worried that their lives could be in danger. Tony shouted to Caitlin to call 911, and she did. She told the operator, "My boyfriend and I are parked to go kayaking, and it looks like there are 2 bodies that were shot." The dispatcher asked, "Where?" She said, "We pulled into the Rocky River Reservation. We're probably 3 miles in, and both these people are definitely dead." Tony recalls that it was 5:20 in the afternoon, about 75 degrees out, and there was plenty of traffic, people running, people on bikes, people driving by, and I was just shocked that we were the first ones to see them. Caitlin, who owns a photography business, and Tony, who runs an eco landscaping company, believed the killer got away on foot. Caitlin said, "We have always had the theory that the killer was on foot. There's a footpath on the other side of the Valley Parkway that we believe the killer used. I used to run through there all the time."
Detective Lieutenant Don Silvis and other detectives responded to the murder scene. They arrived to find Carnell on the grass beside a bench overlooking the Rocky River, and Kate still face down in the water, about 6 feet in front of the bench.
Carnell had been shot twice and Kate once. Upon first glance, Detective Lieutenant Silvis knew that this was either A, a double murder, or B, a murder-suicide. No weapons were found on either body at the scene, but 3 shell casings from a small caliber gun were found. And it was with that the detectives knew that they could rule out a murder-suicide. The investigation then moved forward as a double homicide. Police took notice of a man sitting in his truck in the parking lot, much like Caitlin described. He worked for a roofing company. He told the police that he saw Kate and Carnell arrive. He said he'd been working on estimates and writing up orders when the murders occurred. He claimed he did not hear gunshots or see any suspicious people in the area. He was the investigators' first person of interest, though, because he was there before, during, and after the murders. Carnell's mom was highly suspicious of this man in the truck. She didn't understand what the roofer was doing there in the first place and couldn't understand how he didn't see or hear anything. Detective Silvis says, though, that a small caliber firearm is generally not very loud, and if it's used with a silencer, a small caliber firearm is even more quiet. He believes it's entirely possible for the roofer to never have heard any gunshots from inside his truck. Like I mentioned, though, police did have him as a person of interest, and they searched his electronic devices, including his tablet and cell phone, and they were able to determine with certainty that he was in fact busy working when the murders took place. Police think the killer may have been lying in wait for their victims and knew the park well enough to kill them and still get in and out unnoticed during these peak hours with cars passing by. Nothing was stolen, including Carnell and Kate's phones, wallets, jewelry, and laptops. Both their cars were also still in the parking lot, Carnell's red Mazda and Kate's dark gray Toyota. The river was searched for further evidence, and an addendum was added to the police report by Kenneth Schabitzer, who was the coordinator of the dive team. It stated 3 shell casings from a firearm and a key were located on the river bottom in approximately 10 inches of water. Dive teams searched the river area twice in the first week after the murders, and then again 10 days after, but they found no other evidence.
The Cleveland Metro Parks Police Department asked for the FBI's help with the case. Assistant Special Agent Todd Krajic of the FBI's Cleveland field office said that they don't usually work homicide cases, and that's because they're not federal violations. But because it was a heinous and violent crime in a public area, the FBI agreed to help.
FBI Special Agent Krajic noticed that the park gave the killers several possible escape routes. About 300 feet south of the crime scene was a gravel pathway that connects to a main bike and running path. About 500 feet southwest of the crime scene is the Lorraine Road Bridge. The killer could have run up the hill towards that bridge or, of course, gotten off on foot through the running path. Investigators were able to create a timeline for the day of the murders. That morning, Carnell went to work at Crescent Digital. Then, in the afternoon, he spoke to a coworker who noticed no signs of distress or anything abnormal. Carnell did mention, though, that he had plans to go to Las Vegas for vacation later that week. As for Kate, surveillance footage from her apartment complex showed that at 3:38, after arriving home from work, she signed into the gym. According to cell phone records, Carnell sent her a text message at 4:02 p.m. asking if she would like to get together. We don't necessarily know why they wanted to get together. Detective Silvis believes that reason was discussed through phone calls, not the text messages. Investigators don't have access to the content of those phone calls, but they do have access to phone records. And those phone records showed that at 4:10 p.m., Kate called Carnell while she was still at her apartment complex's gym. The call was about 10 minutes long. Then at 4:24, Carnell left work. At 4:31 p.m., Kate signed out of the gym. Then they both drove to the park.
Ever wonder why so many people regain weight after stopping a GLP-1? Up to 40% of the weight loss can come from lean muscle. This weakens the body, slows metabolism, and makes it easier to put the pounds back on, creating a cycle of dependency. Prolon's 5-day fasting mimicking diet offers a drug-free way to maintain results and support long-term metabolic health. In just 5 days, it activates fasting pathways to burn fat, protect muscle, and rejuvenate cells, all while letting you enjoy real food. Whether transitioning off a GLP-1 or seeking a sustainable solution, Prolon helps you stay on track. So what exactly is Prolon? Well, it's a plant-based nutrition program featuring soups, snacks, and beverages designed to nourish the body while keeping it in a fasting state, thus triggering cellular rejuvenation and renewal. It was developed over more than 2 decades at USC's Longevity Institute, and it's backed by top U.S. medical centers. Prolon has been shown to support fat-focused weight loss, biological age reduction, metabolic health, skin appearance, and so much more. Prolon really picks up where GLPs leave off. It's convenient, backed by Nobel-winning science, and helps you sustain your results long-term. What I love about Prolon is how simple they make it. Everything you need comes right to your door, perfectly portioned and easy to follow. And the food? It's delicious. For a limited time, Prolon is offering listeners 15% off site-wide, plus a $40 bonus gift when you subscribe to their 5-day program. Just visit prolonlife.com/diaries. That's PROLONLIFE.com/diaries to claim your 15% discount and your bonus gift. prolonlife.com/diaries. At 5:01 p.m., a Metro Parks police officer's dash camera captured Kate's Toyota driving along Valley Parkway towards the park bench about a mile away. Then, at 5:03 p.m., the camera captured Carnell's car heading toward his meetup with Kate. The police believe that Kate and Carnell arrived at the parking lot around 5:04 p.m. They sat on the park bench together for just a few minutes, and then at 5:08 p.m., data records show Kate unlocked and checked her phone.
14 minutes later, at 5:22 p.m., is when the kayaking couple called 911 after discovering the bodies. Within that short of a window, the killer approached the 2 friends as they sat on the bench, fired the 3 fatal shots at close range, killing them both. Authorities immediately launched their investigation and didn't leave any stone unturned. After interviewing friends and family of the 2, that's when they learned that Carnell had the plans to visit his grandma for dinner that night. This left them questioning why, if he had plans to go see his grandma, did he go into the opposite direction to meet with Kate at the park? What was so important about this conversation, and what were they talking about? Unfortunately, this is something that there still is no answer to. At a press conference, the Cuyahoga County Medical Examiner's Office confirmed that both victims had fatal gunshots to the head. Dr. Thomas Gilson of the Medical Examiner's Office said both of the manners of death were homicide. Our preliminary investigation reveals nothing other than this looks like an isolated incident. Catherine Dolan, the chief ranger of the Cleveland Metro Parks Ranger Department, also stated at the press conference that the safety of the parks was never in question. As time went on, frustration grew with the lack of progress in the case. Family, friends, coworkers, and local reporters formed their own theories as to who murdered Carnell and Kate and why. Possibilities ranged from a hate crime, gang initiation, or an obsessed, jealous lover. Authorities told Kate's dad that there were 30 different hate groups in the Cleveland area alone. Hate crimes in the area were on the rise, and they had been in the news in recent years. With Carnell being an African-American man, they can't rule this out. Another theory was that the murders were gang-related. The possibility of a gang initiation. Gang graffiti was found on a nearby walkway. According to Special Agent Krajek, potential gang members sometimes commit crimes who get initiated into a gang. But he also said that they usually target rival gang members, not necessarily innocent bystanders. Terrence, Carnell's brother, does not think the murders were gang-related or random. He believes the killer knew at least one of them and wanted at least one of them dead. Kate's sister Lauren isn't far off from that belief either. She believes that maybe one of them was followed, because after all, it is such a short 14-minute window from when they arrived at the park to when the murders took place. She doesn't think that somebody just stumbled upon Kate and Carnell and decided to kill them. It's also important to note that Kate and Carnell had both recently been in relationships that didn't end on the best of terms.
Kate's sister Alex said, "On the Friday before Kate died, She went bowling with a guy she met on Tinder. Kate then found out he had killed a guy and went to jail for it. He lied to Kate about why he'd spent time in jail. That was the first person I thought of when my parents came to my house to tell me Kate had been killed.
Alyssa Miller, Carnell's ex-girlfriend, was considered a suspect for a time. The two met online about a year before the murders and dated for about 6 months. They ultimately decided that they were better off as friends, but a month before the murders, they started talking again and had planned to maybe be getting back together. Alyssa reportedly acted strangely at Carnell's funeral with an over-the-top expression of grief and emotion. One of Carnell's friends said Alyssa had a concealed carry permit and access to firearms. Carnell and Alyssa did see each other on Saturday, June 1st, just a few days before he was murdered. They exchanged texts the day of the murders as well. His last text to her was around 3 p.m., and she replied later that evening, unaware that he'd been murdered. Alyssa was cooperative with police and handed over her gun. Ballistic tests ruled that gun out as the murder weapon. She also had an alibi of being at work nowhere near the crime scene when the murders occurred, and that was verified by police. Kate also had a relationship with somebody who was of interest to the police. She dated another man named John for about a year. Her family said that he was abusive and violent towards her during the relationship. A few years before her death, she broke up with him, but she continued to see him secretly, off and on, hot and cold. You know the drill. Police discovered that he'd seen Kate the night before her death. Surveillance footage showed him coming and leaving from her apartment. One of Kate's family members went to John's home after the murders and told him he was not welcome at the funeral. While she was there, she noticed a handgun on a table. However much a person of interest, the police said that John was at a barbershop at the time of the murders.
Fox 8 Cleveland received an anonymous letter claiming a woman had committed the murders. The letter said the woman spoke to Carnell before she shot him. The station forwarded the letter on to the FBI, and it was later ruled to be a hoax.
Police did not arrive at the Browns' home to notify the family of Kate's murder until 3 a.m. Kate's father said the minute the police left, that was the worst. How are we going to tell her sisters? Carnell's family was notified in the early morning hours as well. His father answered the door and invited the police in while he went to wake his wife. His mom said, "It's just hard to take in, and it was strange because we didn't know Kate. He has friends we don't know. He's private in that way." Darlene said that her son was just trying to be a good friend. Quote, "I'm sure Kate texted him because it must have been urgent on her end because he went right after work. And if he planned to do something different, he would have let us know." What she means here is that she fully expected that Carnell planned to go to his grandma's after speaking with Kate for a little bit. Maybe he was going to be a little bit late, but he was going to be there. Otherwise, he would have called to tell them, "Hey, I can't make it. My friend needs me." But again, that wasn't the case. So this murder is the only thing that stopped him from being there that night. Kate's sister Lauren said that Kate and Carnell didn't often meet at the metro parks, but were close friends who hung out frequently on and off for 10 years after meeting. Sometimes when one of them would be dating somebody else, they wouldn't be able to hang out much, but they always found their way back together as friends. Lauren went on to say, quote, "Kate visited the parks often to exercise and walk with Mom. It was a daily routine. Kate lost close to 100 pounds. It was a last-minute request on the part of Kate that day asking Carnell to meet her at the park." Carnell's mom and Kate's father are still frustrated and unclear why Metro Parks police took more than 9 hours to come to their homes to tell them their loved ones had been murdered. In the days and weeks after the homicides, friends and family of Kate's and Carnell's left flowers, stuffed animals, and handmade signs near the park bench on the Rocky River Reserve.
Visitors to the park were rattled by the murders. A frequent visitor named Rita said, "It shows you crime can happen anywhere. Who would ever imagine it would happen in a beautiful place like this?"
Murders in the Metro Park system are rare. There had not been a homicide since 1999. That case had been solved and was determined to be drug-related. A week after the murders, friends, family members, and strangers came together at Rocky River Reservation for a vigil to remember the two friends who had died a week earlier. Kate Jones worked with Carnell at Westlake High School, where she helped out in special education classes. She and her other coworkers wore Westlake shirts to the vigil. Jones went on to say he helped kids that just needed a friend to talk to, had a lot of energy. Friends and family also then attended a memorial service at Olmsted Community Church, Olmsted Falls, on June 12, 2019. It was for a celebration of Kate's life. In lieu of flowers, her family asked that donations be made in Kate's memory to the Cleveland Animal Protective League. Carnell's family also celebrated his life by holding visitation hours on June 13th at a funeral home, and then his funeral was the next day at the Fellowship Church of God in Bedford, Ohio. After these celebrations of life, the case stalled for several years without any breaks.
In 2023, Metro Park spokesperson Jacqueline Gerling said officers have conducted more than 270 interviews and received 165 tips during the course of the investigation. She said, Cleveland Metro Parks police are in regular communication with the families, and our priority remains bringing justice for the victims and their families.
But Kate's father disagrees. He had a hard time understanding how Metro Parks police haven't made any progress in the case, or that they claim to have frequent contact with the family. He said, "We met with Cleveland Metro Parks' new chief, Kelly Stillman, on April 6th of last year, but there's been no communication since then. Nothing. If they haven't figured it out, why haven't they expanded the search?" Carnell's mother agrees. She said, "We haven't been contacted either by the authorities. The last time Metro Parks or the FBI called or came by here was many months ago, probably spring 2022. Caitlin and Tony, the kayakers who first discovered the bodies of Carnell and Kate, have also spoken out about what they consider to be a sloppy police investigation, starting with how the crime scene was first handled. Tony said there was no police tape, no boundaries to protect evidence. Worse, they didn't question witnesses the way they should have. They treated it like a stolen package off someone's porch. On October 2nd, 2024, the case gained some new momentum through a global audience with an episode on Netflix's Unsolved Mystery. It sparked hope that their families might finally gain closure and justice. In June of 2025, Metro Parks Police Chief Kelly Stillman told Cleveland 19 News that trace evidence found at the scene of another 2019 unsolved murder could potentially lead to a suspect. Quote, "We have sent evidence for DNA comparison, but nothing's come back in our favor yet." Chief Stillman went on to say, "Trace, meaning trace. It could be anything." This obviously instills hope for this case that DNA test results might lead to a suspect. Also in June of 2025, wearing orange shirts to mark National Gun Violence Awareness Month, family and friends gathered at the Rocky River Reservation on a Saturday near the bench where Carnell and Kate were murdered 6 years before.
Alex, Kate's younger sister, said, "It's been a long road of healing. And without any justice, we believe it makes it that much harder to keep hearing these news stories, to keep wondering. It drives you mad."
Kate's older sister Lauren said, "The fact that this person, the murderer of murders, is still out there, they could be walking around that Rocky River Reservation looking for the next person to shoot. And so for the greater Cleveland area safety, this person needs to be in jail. They need to be prosecuted for what they did." The two families have said that for future anniversaries of the deaths of their loved ones, they don't plan to return to the Rocky River Reservation, saying that it's too painful. Carnell's mom, Darlene, said, "We will go to the cemetery and clean his headstone and make new memories." When asked how he would like other people to remember his daughter, Tom Brown said, "She was a spark that lit up our lives. Every day, something or someone reminds us of her. It's amazing how many people's lives she touched." For anyone with information about the murders of Carnell and Kate, there is a $100,000 reward for tips that lead to an arrest and conviction. Tips can be submitted to the Cleveland office of the FBI or online at tips.fbi.gov. You can also reach out to Crime Stoppers of Cuyahoga County.
That's it for this week's case coverage, but be sure to tune in to our unscripted episodes on Mondays and find us on social media at the Murder Diaries Pod. We're everywhere: YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, you name it, you can find us there. And until then,
Stay safe. Bye.
Ever wonder why so many people regain weight after stopping a GLP-1? Up to 40% of the weight loss can come from lean muscle. This weakens the body, slows metabolism, and makes it easier to put the pounds back on, creating a cycle of dependency. Prolon's 5-day fasting mimicking diet offers a drug-free way to maintain results and support long-term metabolic health. In just 5 days, it activates fasting pathways to burn fat, protect muscle, and rejuvenate cells, all while letting you enjoy real food. Whether transitioning off a GLP-1 or seeking a sustainable solution, Prolon helps you stay on track. So what exactly is Prolon? Well, it's a plant-based nutrition program featuring soups, snacks, and beverages designed to nourish the body while keeping it in a fasting state, thus triggering cellular rejuvenation and renewal. It was developed over more than 2 decades at USC's Longevity Institute, and it's backed by top U.S. medical centers. Prolon has been shown to support fat-focused weight loss, biological age reduction, metabolic health, skin appearance, and so much more. Prolon really picks up where GLPs leave off. It's convenient, backed by Nobel-winning science, and helps you sustain your results long-term. What I love about Prolon is how simple they make it. Everything you need comes right to your door, perfectly portioned and easy to follow. And the food? It's delicious. For a limited time, Prolon is offering listeners 15% off site-wide, plus a $40 bonus gift when you subscribe to their 5-day program. Just visit prolonlife.com/diaries. That's prolonlife.com/diaries to claim your 15% discount and your bonus gift. prolonlife.com/diaries.